Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here to a Monday night. It is the Earth Master out here, 10:32 in the PM out here across California. December 1st, 2025 is the date. December 1st. Yeah, I can't believe that already. That's crazy. Latest activity shows a 4.4 earthquake across the area of the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. This is where the 8.8 struck here at the end of July this year. Still seeing quite a bit of aftershock activity up there, plus some adjustment going on across the Aleutian Trench there of Alaska, where we've seen a 5.1 this afternoon. So definitely some broader scale movement happening out here across this area of the Pacific Plate. Not so much there across the Japan area for now. Most of the movement in this area, Taiwan southward into the typical crunch zone. We are getting some deeper activity events there. Notice those rings raised off the globe quite a ways, indicating some deep activity. Also over here around the Solomon Islands region, it looks like some deeper activity. A number of fours today in this area. New Zealand, quite the cluster going on underneath this area, it looks like. Bunch of threes. This is the area that really hasn't had any even moderate adjustment here recently. We've had activity well north and south and east of the area out here along the plate boundary, but not a whole lot of sufficient movement there across New Zealand. That may be happening soon. Look at this quake up along the Cascadia Subduction Zone there. That's a 2.1. They added this earthquake after the fact. You know, what I need to do here is go and look at some of these recorded seismograph stations out here and see what maybe what's not being reported, because that is right smack dab on the Cascadia Subduction Zone, and this was added. Must have been added sometime throughout the afternoon period, because this happened at about 12:20 in the a.m., just after midnight last night there. Again, right there on the Cascadia Subduction Zone. It's an interesting earthquake because this map here shows where the tremor activity is occurring. This is the slow slip events, which is 111 epicenters of slow slip events there across the Cascadia Subduction Zone. And it's, when the tremor activity occurs here, this is not volcanic tremor, but slow slip events. This is a sign that the subducting plate there, the Wandu-Fuka plate, is being further shoved underneath this area. And that is it's not a sudden, it's not like an earthquake. It's just a slow vibrational frequency there between the two plates that's picked up there, and it's called slow slip events. But when this happens, upstream is where the locked area is building up some momentum. And that, that earthquake there right on the southern end pretty much matches this area right here. So we are getting some, obviously stress building up here, but maybe some little signs of earthquake activity there across that subduction zone. Literally 3 miles underneath this area into the locked region. Now, of course, the southern end of the Cascadia Subduction Zone there can see it can see a big earthquake here at any time. And I say that because the last full rupture along the Cascadia was back in 1700, 325 years ago. Now, the partial ruptures of the Cascadia occur normally in between major events, not all the time. And in fact, let's see here. I don't see the timeline up here as far as the events go. Oh, here we go. Number of years between. Okay, these are just the number of years between major events there. I was looking for the main deal. There's so much information on this page. If you haven't got a chance to check it out, definitely read it. It's called survivingcascadia.com. But an important factor here is when I talk about the partial rupture coming up here, it's a higher likelihood there across the southern end because we have not had one yet. If you go back through the intervals there, most of the time in between the major events, such as a full rupture, which is a 9.0 or greater, and the partial ruptures occur in between those big events. And we have not had one. The last big event was 1700. We have not seen a partial event. So the likelihood of, we should see it pretty soon. There's been times there where it's gotten close like this in thousands of years past, where a partial rupture would occur almost immediately before a full rupture, which is, it's possible we could be experiencing something like that here with this next big Cascadia event. Either way, if you look at this map here in the last 4,000 years, this graph, there's been no interval, there's been no big earthquakes, right? That includes partial ruptures and full ruptures, where it has gone this long. There's been 0 earthquakes that have gone longer than 325 years, as far as the intervals go. So we're at a time period here where the Pacific Northwest has gone longer than 100% of known times between earthquakes in the last 4,000 years. The longest was 291 years until now. So that right there should definitely tell you that we're getting close here. And that won't be pretty once it does hit out here. Even a partial rupture would be pretty damaging. 2.0, that was this afternoon as well. The southern end of the Cascadia Subduction Zone, about 12 miles deep or so underneath this area. Just be on guard. We definitely got some interesting movement happening, and time. It's all about time. Geology. You can pretty much guess there that we're going to see something here pretty soon as far as big earthquake activity goes. It's not like it happened 100 years ago. 325 years ago. Okay, so let's look here at Mount St. Helens. We've got a couple smaller earthquakes up there from last night and this morning. Nothing big. One up around Mount Rainier as well. This is a little 0.2 this morning. With that, I'm going to go double check the Mount Rainier seismograph station up here and see what we have. Just take a look real quick and see if there's anything of any major swarming going on here. I don't think there is, but that's just crazy overblown. Not so much here, but they've done something there to the amplitudes. I'm not for sure why. I was hoping they wouldn't mess with this station, but maybe they'll fix it here by morning. Let's see here. There's also another one over here, but I believe this one is this one works. It is showing some earthquake activity there. There's one actually around 8 o'clock or so tonight. Nothing big, but there's definitely some earthquake activity showing up there across Mount Rainier. The rest of the area, pretty quiet up there around Seattle for now. Bay Area still seeing some movement out here. Got to watch this. 1.1 out there around Pacifica. That's been an area of swarming here recently. Down here across the Calaveras Fault Zone, and 1.2. That's also been another area of some decent swarming. And just got to watch it. Hayward Fault is fairly well primed. It's past its regular intervals as well. It's just a matter of time before we start seeing some large earthquake activity out here. And I'm talking about not just one or two, maybe a few of them out here across California. There's many faults and the plate boundary out here that's well overdue for a big event. I know I've been hearing it for quite a while, but here we are living in 2025. We're in the future, and we could be definitely be hearing about that soon. We could be feeling it. One earthquake right smack dab on the southern branch of the San Andreas Fault as well. A little 1.4. Little noticeable uptick here going on around this area, around the San Bernardino Mountains. Nothing big, nothing above 2.5, but noticeable uptick in terms of microquake activity. Yellowstone National Park, it looks like they added some of those quakes there from this morning. A few ones showing up, so we better go double check and see what's going on at Yellowstone. Of course, Yellowstone, a super volcano, not getting anywhere close to blowing. We got a long ways to go before that happens. We would see tremendous amount of uplift going on, big earthquakes, massive earthquakes there would be going on out here before that thing decided to pop. But let's see here. All right. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on. There's a handful of earthquakes there this morning in the one range. See that showing up. Since then, not so much. Pretty quiet out there for now. Like I say, Yellowstone, pretty quiet. Nothing major going on. Out across the rest of the country here, typical earthquake activity down in the oil fields of Texas. Nothing major going on there across the New Madrid seismic zone. We do have an earthquake out there in the Atlantic Ocean, out there around the central mid-Atlantic ridge. 4.6, fairly recent earthquake there in the last hour. That's about the only one. South America and the Middle America Trench here. We're Middle America Trench up here. South America is the Peru Chile Trench. Definitely some uptick going on. There's a 5-pointer up here around Peru. Cluster of quakes up here around the Middle America Trench right now. Even some squeezing going on here across the southern end of the Caribbean plate where this earthquake struck. Fairly recent, a 4.6 near the Venezuela area. So watch it. Things are stirring up out here, getting tight, so to speak. Getting some strain building up out there. Also, Hawaii just popped up here on the map with a 2-pointer. Let's see, 2238. So that was, yeah, that's going to be this recent one here, just about an hour or so ago. Nothing major going on there across, actually, yeah, there it is. An hour ago. How did I figure an hour ago? That's just happened a few minutes ago. Oh, it's just been a fun Monday, let me tell you. Mondays are always fun, right? At least we made it through it. Been pretty active out here underneath the Big Island recently with a swarm of activity. A lot going on around this hotspot area. And it's kind of affecting the Kilauea inflation activity out there. Let's go over and see what we got for the latest information with the Kilauea volcano. It may have gone up by now. I'm thinking there's no way it could show up that quick in terms of any adjustment as far as inflation goes. I think we'll see whatever's going on here in a number of weeks. I think we may see an increase in volcanic activity here just because of everything that's happening well below the surface. Yeah, see, so we are, there's a little bit of leveling out, but now we're starting to go back up in terms of inflation there. It's a little odd because it leveled out for a little bit, and we hadn't seen that in the last few eruptions here. Actually, I don't recall the last time we've seen any leveling out that early. So we're just going to continue to watch it. It is starting to go back up now. Space weather activity. We do have a massive coronal hole facing us. Pretty decent size one too, 0.4. This is not the latest image over here. And this one here is about a day old, but we'll check this imagery right here. Notice that coronal hole now starting to shift over there away from us a little bit. I have yet to see here, folks. Yes, there's some decent uptick out here across this area. But this region can see earthquakes on any given day of that magnitude out there. The largest event so far today has only been a 5.2. That's a pretty low magnitude there for having, a massive coronal hole facing us. And this may be number 2 here, 2 in a row, where we're not seeing any major elevated earthquake activity with a coronal hole facing us. It's interesting to watch here because, there's been some times here in the past where they're facing us and we see major uptick going on. But it's stuff like this happens, I think this may just be a coincidence. A 5.2, Kermadec Trench, a couple other earthquakes in here. I don't see any major uptick going on for now. The rest of the planet out here, see what we got. Not a whole lot going on out here across Turkey. A couple of smaller quakes, nothing big. Just kind of keep an eye on things here, see how it plays out. Still expecting New Zealand to move down here, though. It's just number of 3s, nothing big. Okay, back to space weather activity. It looks like they added here a G2 class storm coming up, and I believe that's mainly because of that high-speed solar wind stream, but let's just go double check. That X flare that blasted off here late last night was not anywhere near facing the planet. So I don't even think we should be seeing anything from that. Let's see. So the sun here in the yellow, Earth in the green, stereo A in the red. That's not Mars. It's just another, it's a craft there, or satellite, whatever you want to call it, out there monitoring the solar weather activity. So let's see what we got. You will see the X flare blast off a CME maybe. There you go. See how that's directed away from Earth? That was a decent one as well. Big one. But us here, that's interesting. looks like maybe we'll just get barely a little clipper, some enhanced high-speed solar wind stream. I mean, it looked a little weak. Here it is before getting slammed with that CME. Kind of enhanced it a little bit, but I don't expect much there. I'm surprised they're really calling for a G2 class solar storm. Let's see. And it's really not the wind that's stirring it up, the high-speed solar wind stream. It looks like it's just going to be plasma density here. I don't know. I don't think that's going to stir up that much of a solar storm. Just looking at that, we'll see what happens here. But they're calling for a G2 class storm coming up here. It's going to be December 3rd UTC time, late. So we'll have to check back on that as we get a little bit closer. Massive sunspots out there. Look at that. Wow. That is a giant cluster of sunspots. Let's check out the latest imagery here. It's getting closer. It's starting to line up here. That's one of the more bigger active areas that I've seen this entire solar cycle. It does have quite a bit of complexity here within all of these cores. And here's the area that did produce that most recent X flare directed away from Earth. This is also the sunspot that produced numerous X flares last time it was out here, weeks ago. These sunspots, like I say, they come around, they go around like a merry-go-round. It's the same sunspots here. Sometimes we'll get new ones. Most of the time it's the same old sunspots, and they remain somewhat complex, but they get newly renamed. There is one out here, also center disk, or center area here on the sun, but out on the eastern limb that looks fairly complex as well. So we got, it's going to be active out here, I think. Of course, seeing some flaring activity. I'm not betting too much there on the aurora activity coming up here in the next couple nights, but if we do get some Earth-directed CMEs, then you can bet there that that will stir up the auroras. But look at that. If you got a solar telescope or solar lens there for your camera, this would be an easy spot. I may go out tomorrow and see if I can get some shots here with my solar lens that I have for my Zoom cam. Not too often do you see something that massive there in for a sunspot group. I do think that may flare up a little bit, some X-flare activity. Right now, probably about a 30 to 40% chance there for X-flare, M-flare at 70. Proton event up there around 20% chance or so. We'll definitely we'll keep an eye on that. Let's take a look here at the numerical models. I wish I could say California is going to get some rainfall here, but I want to show you guys the total accumulated precipitation run. This is pretty depressing. A little bit different this time. See, you never know what's going to happen weeks out, right? This goes all the way to the 18th of December. Things can change. When I looked at this morning, it was wide open there with no rainfall, even though that's fairly measly in terms of rainfall accumulation for December for California. Most of the rain's heading up to the Pacific Northwest. I'm hoping that changes. I really hope so. Because December is one of our wetter months, and it's looking not good. For snowfall, total accumulated snowfall up there, hopefully we get some snowfall. I was just up there outside of Mount Lassen here yesterday around Chester. No snow on the ground. None. Zero. Up at Mount Lassen, yes, there is, the higher elevation there, but nothing around Chester, nothing for the drive up there. Little scary. We should see snow on the ground here by now. But that's the snow map out here. Looks like everyone's going to get a little taste of some winter coming up. In the meantime, folks, hope everyone has a good one. There's that swarm up there around Santa Rosa. Popped off a number of 3s and some 2s. It does look like we had one more earthquake away from the area. That's fairly recent, just earlier this evening. Little 2.2. Just kind of keep an eye on it. The general movement out here across the Bay Area has been amplified for sure. We've seen a lot more earthquake activity out here than normal in terms of the smaller magnitudes. But got to remember, the smaller magnitude quakes out here, it's only a key indicator that pressure is increasing out here. It's not relieving strain whatsoever. When we see these little quakes out here, that's a sign that we could see something bigger out here. In fact, the possibilities of a bigger quake rises. The percentages rises as we get these swarms going on, these elevated events. I'm going to call it, folks. Hope everyone has a good evening. Stay safe out there. And we'll see you guys out here for the Tuesday morning update. Stay safe. Have a good night.